case around the disappearance of 6-year-old Joslin Smith has been postponed to the 15th of July. The young girl vanished from her home in Saldanha Bay about 3 months ago. 4 people had appeared at the Vredenburg Magistrate's Court earlier on this morning. Let's get you an update on the situation. Bring in SABC News reporter Corbin, who's been watching developments from inside court. And Corbin, I understand the postponement was due to further investigations for the state.
Well, yes, indeed. Good day to you and to the viewers. Yes, indeed. We are crossing to you from here at the Vredenburg Magistrate's Court on the west coast, where the 4 accused in the matter of the disappearance of little Joslin Smith made a brief court appearance today. And as you indicated, that matter has now been postponed to the 15th of July for further investigation. During the brief court proceedings here today, the state indicated that they had received forensic reports as well as reports on cell phone data that they had indicated they needed to investigate further. Of course, the state saying that they did canvass the postponement with the defense, and both consented to the postponement to the 15th of July for further investigation. Joining us now to talk to us a bit more about the case and how it's really rocked the Western Cape and sent shockwaves, not only through the country but through the rest of the world. We are speaking now to the Minister of Police Oversight and Community Safety here in the Western Cape, Regan Allen. Regan, thank you so much for joining us.
We are on day 84 since the disappearance of little Joslin. We again heard today that the wheels of justice turn extremely slowly. But like you have indicated, we can confirm that the downloads from the various cell phones have already been taken. That is now being analyzed. Any and all leads are still being followed up because we are ultimately wanting to ensure that no stone is left unturned. And during this particular difficult time, not only for the West Coast and Saldanha Bay, but for the Western Cape, we would never want any young person to disappear or to be taken against their will by any particular persons. And here the 4 accused appeared together in court for the very first time, but we trust that the investigation will continue in this regard.
And Regan, just with what's been happening in the Joslin Smith case, just with regards to what's also been happening in relation to other missing persons in the province, just your view on the matter and how it's impacted this, highlighting the issue around missing persons here in the province.
We can confirm that since 2019 to date, there has been 2 particular matters involving missing persons that actually led to court appearances, which ultimately secured 2 convictions. We are ultimately wanting to ensure that any person that goes missing, whether it is in our province or in South Africa, the perpetrators in that regard must be held accountable. So from our side, we are working with various municipalities and the South African Police Service to ensure that the activation that should take place once someone is reported missing must be cemented within a particular community at the police station, so that within the first 72 hours that any and all leads are quickly followed up, that we can ensure that any person could ultimately be reunited with their family.
And when you were speaking earlier, you said that it seems as if the wheels of justice are turning slowly. Just in your view, do you think that the case is progressing at the speed that you would like to see?
Most definitely, on the one hand, it is turning slowly. On the other hand, we would want the state to ensure that they have a proper case to actually present in court that could ultimately lead to accused persons being convicted. We wouldn't want any mess up in this particular case. We wouldn't want any piece of information to not be thoroughly investigated. So even in the analysis of the cell phone data, we would want that to be properly done so that any and all matters are not chucked out of court or thrown out of court that could derail an entire case. Hence, we are continuing to engage the South African Police Service so that if there is any further leads, that must be quickly operationalized because our main aim is still to ensure that Joslin is actually returned unharmed.
And Regan, with regards to the sentiment in the community in the Saldanha and surrounding areas, just have you managed to go to those communities and maybe get a sense of what they're feeling and what the energy and what the feelings are there?
Whenever there is any crime, any murder, missing person within a particular community, we have often seen that that community can be left traumatized, can be left extremely upset, considering that no person wants to live in an area that is seeing high levels of crime. So the frustration that the community members are often echoing is entirely legitimate when we consider that any person wants to live in an area that is free of any crime, where they can ultimately live in dignity. But it is very concerning that just last week, once again, we saw politicians putting information in the public domain that was false, that was fake news, and that also upsets the community, because now the community is hearing information that isn't verified and actually traumatizes the community further. So our appeal is again to politicians to allow the South African Police Service to do its job, and ultimately not to interfere in this particular case and not to spread fake information.
Okay. And then with regards to the actual search for little Joslin Smith, who went missing now almost 3 months ago, can you perhaps give us an update on where that search is at? And maybe if you know, what resources are still being deployed to search for little Joslin?
Currently, there is a team of investigators from the Provincial Commissioner's Office that is working closely with the local Saldanha Bay and the West Coast District SABC members. But where there has been any leads or information coming from outside of the district or the province, that is also being operationalized via our PC's office together with SABC and other entities outside of the province. So if, for example, information comes to the fore that Joslin was either spotted or she could be in a particular vicinity, the cooperation will then be activated with the relevant agency in that particular district or in that particular province.
Okay. And is the law enforcement agencies, are they working with any other perhaps law enforcement agencies outside of the country, maybe international organizations that could also assist with the search for little Joslin?
From our side, we can confirm that no entity working in law enforcement have been barred from working with the South African Police Service in this regard. So in one particular case, there was matters where international partners and stakeholders were also engaged to ensure that ultimately no stone is left unturned. So we wouldn't want any particular person to come back and indicate that they didn't follow up on a particular lead. So from our side, we are agitating that that should continue to happen.
Okay. Minister, we understand you have other commitments, and we understand you're pressed for time. So thank you very much for joining us, and thank you for that comprehensive update. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Of course, that was the Minister for Police Oversight and Community Safety here in the Western Cape, Regan Allen, who was just giving us a bit of a briefing after court proceedings have been concluded here at the Vredenburg Magistrate's Court, where the 4 accused in the disappearance of 6-year-old Joslin Smith just appeared briefly here at the court. Of course, the matter has been postponed to the 15th of July, and that's of course for further investigation. We will continue to keep tabs on the story, and we'll continue to bring you more as the story develops. With that, back to you in Studio Ayanda.
Right, Corbin August, thanks very much indeed. As you heard, Corbin is live to us there from the Vredenburg Magistrate's Court, asking all those all-important questions. For now, Corbin, thanks very much once again.